How's it going? I'm Jared Gillis. Welcome to another All About RVs. Today I wanted to share with you some of the upgrades we've done to the RV as far as the electrical. We're going to be talking about some of the solar, some of the things we did to clean that up and make it a little bit better install, and how we used the solar ready system on the RV. And the second thing is how we installed the inverter. I came up with this idea, and so the inverter install that we did this time is a little bit more simple and a little bit cleaner and gives us more capabilities, and it's really not that much more expensive to do. It's for a part that's going to be right around $10, $12. So that's what we have on tap for today. Now, we won't spend too much time up here on the roof because it's fairly basic. We have 6 panels up here for 600 watts of solar. So it's the same panels that we had on the last RV. We had 4 of them mounted on the last RV, so we had 400 mounted on there. And then we had those 2 that we used as a ground station for when we were out boondocking and we wanted a little bit more. We could tilt them, but we decided to just mount all 6 of them up here. So we did them in a series parallel. So we have 3 in a series, 3 in a series, and then we parallel those into the already solar prepped RV roof mount system on here. So we put it in series parallel, and we did it this way so that we could take advantage of using the system, the solar prepped RV already. So that wire gauge isn't huge, so trying to put all 6 panels paralleled down there, the amperage would be too high going down there. So that kept our voltage up around 60 volts typically, and then the amperage will be much lower going down there. So we won't have as much loss getting to that MPPT charge controller. The other thing that we did while we were up here is we custom cut the length of the wires that we needed. So we got an MC4 crimper so that we can crimp the ends of those wires, make them the length that they needed to be, and not have a whole lot of excess wire up here. So that made it just a little bit more efficient, much cleaner install, and I think it turned out great up here. But the MPPT charge controller that kind of handles the way that we were able to wire it up here and still take advantage of all the wattage that it's sending down there is in that front bay. Now, this is where the wires come in from the solar prep from the roof down here to the storage area. So we mounted our charge controller in here because it's really not that far from the battery bank. So this is where we can step up our wire size on that side of the charge controller. Because it's just 10 gauge wire coming down to this point, which is fine with the way that we wired it, but we want to bring that into a breaker. They had some other stuff in here that we cleaned up, getting rid of some of the excess wire, and they had this 30 amp fuse in line, but I'd rather have the breaker so I can just turn it on, turn it off when I need to, disconnecting those panels rather than trying to pull a fuse. It's just that much easier for being able to use the system. That's what I prefer. This is also going to be where I'm going to mount our bus bar, because I'm going to put more devices in here to give us more of a strategy for charging up our batteries, not just solar. And so using this and then using a larger lead back to the battery bank, which is just basically on the other side of this wall, is going to be a big advantage to making things clean and installing it properly. But let's look at the inverter in this storage area.
Now, while we might have gained quite a bit of storage compared to our last RV, it is still rather tight in here to be able to set up something like this. So this is our inverter. We'll give you a quick overview and then show you exactly what we did on the as-builts for the advantages that we have in here. So we have the same inverter that we had, the exact same one, in the last RV. We just moved it over to this RV, and we have the same 3 Lion Energy batteries, which is going to be great because the longer I can test them, the more information I can gather for how long they last, the longevity, and all those kind of things that I'll be able to share with you guys. So we moved the same batteries from the last RV into this one. Now the install kind of all happens behind this wall, which we kind of pushed that direction and gained a little bit more space in here so that we can have all these things in the conditioned space. But to make this work the way we wanted to on the 50 amp RV, we have to have our switch, which is over in that corner, and then our junction box to be able to connect all this into the panel all happened behind that wall. We were able to sneak in a box. If I tried to video putting that all together, you would just see my hand in the way the entire time because it was very tight trying to set it all up. But behind that wall, we also wired up our EMS surge protector with our remote and monitor over there on that wall. So it's easy to see. We don't have to have that EMS device out in the open where we can see the screen. It can be tucked in behind that wall, doing what it needs to do, and we have all the information and control on that wall, which is great. So let's look at exactly how we installed this so I can show you a little bit better. Now that you can see, we have our switch, we have our inverter, we have our 3 batteries, and this is how the system is set up.
Now, all these pieces come together so that we can use our RV in the way that we would like to. So, for instance, the way that we use the system is if we go to a campground and we have the availability of 50 amp, that would be our first preference because it's a 50 amp RV. So we can just plug directly into there. And then the system just works the way that it needs to in the background. The power is coming in and half of it is going to the inverter, to the Multiplus, which in turn charges the batteries. It is by far the best battery charger we have ever had for our RV. Now that we have the Victron Multiplus installed, we don't need our old converter to charge the batteries anymore, so we can actually pull it out or just unplug it. We just don't need it in the system anymore. So not only is the Multiplus an amazing battery charger, it's pretty amazing too that it just kind of sits there and it has that internal transfer switch. So if we do lose power, it is amazingly fast at switching over to the inverter so that you can have power inside of the RV. So in a nutshell, we have the switch in position 1 because it's our first choice, and everything is just working the way that it should inside of the RV. Nothing really special going on. Now the second situation is if we go out boondocking and we go off-grid. So we put the switch into position 2, and now we are using all the power off of the inverter to be able to power all the AC function inside of the RV. So our batteries are doing the lights and everything that the 12-volt side needs to do, and then the inverter is also using that battery bank to be able to provide the AC power inside of the RV. Now, while using the inverter while boondocking is a fantastic use of the device, it's also great because it has the hybrid function. So if we only have a 30 amp source or a 15 or a 20 amp source, we have the ability to use the inverter in hybrid mode. So it can use the 15 amps coming from this, but if we draw more than 15 amps inside the RV, it can make up that difference with the inverter. Normally, if you tried to do that without this hybrid inverter, is you would either melt this cord, but more than likely you would pop the circuit that's feeding this, so that you'd have to go out and trip that breaker, get it back up and going, and figure out what you turned on that caused an excessive amount so that you don't do that again. But with the inverter, it makes up that difference. We can just dial into the app how many amps we can draw from the source that we're at, and then it knows not to pull more than that, and if we do, it uses the energy out of the batteries to make a hybrid function. So the complication of the setup with a hybrid function is made possible with using the switch and now this new connector that's going to make things better for this install. Now, the great thing about this new little plug, this is one of the new little additions that we did to the install on this, is we now have the ability to, yes, it's gonna make it a little bit easier to install, but we are now gonna be supplying power to half of the panel that the inverter, as long as you leave it on, you will not lose power on one side of that panel. What it gives you is a constant power supply on one side of the panel. And the reason why that's important is because you don't get that on-off-on type of a situation on that side of the panel that's being fed by the inverter. Now, this was a potential problem with the automatic switch, with the SPS, or even with the manual switch. If you were doing it quick, you had that spot in the middle that would turn off power to everything in the RV and then turn it back on. So that on-off-on could harm microwaves or things with more sensitive electronics in them. So this little connector gives us the ability to send power to the switch because we need it there to be able to transfer that power, and it sends it directly to the panel on the one side in the RV breaker panel. So it gives us the added ability of having that constant power, which on a side note just makes it easier when we're setting up and tearing down. If we don't have a constant power cycle on one side of the panel, we can put some of those more sensitive items that we would have to be adjusting or changing every time we'd set up. like the clock on the microwave, or every time we'd unplug and plug in, our TV would turn on, just things like that. Just save us time when we're setting up, so we don't have to deal with that every time that we set up, adjusting the clock and turning devices off that automatically turn on when they receive power. Those are the convenience benefits, but this also gives us the ability to have fewer connections inside of that switch. Fewer connections is better for electrical, so it's a better system, less jumpers to install inside that switch. So all around, this is just better function, better use, and better install. So let's do a quick walkthrough of the diagram so you can see how it installed on our RV. You can see where all those different devices are, and then you can see it on this diagram to see what it would look like in a diagram setting and in a real world install setting. So starting off, you can see that over here, this is where our power is going to be coming in, shore power. This would be if you had an onboard generator. We do not have that, so that doesn't exist on our RV, nor will this transfer switch, because this transfer switch is only if you have a generator. The SPS, or this manual switch that we're talking about over here, cannot be just a normal transfer switch. So we have the shore power, and then we installed this EMS surge protector, which you saw down underneath there, that would be in line before it got to all this. Now, when I installed that surge protector in there, we just took that line, the main power line coming in, and we just cut it. We found where we had a little bit of slack where I was going to be able to feed that end directly into the surge protector, and then out of the surge protector we go into this junction box, and then from there that's going to be what feeds the panel again. So the other end of that wire that we cut that goes into the RV panel is coming out of that junction box. So we just positioned it in a spot where we could just cut that wire, put it into the surge protector, and then from there we're going to go from the junction box to the RV breaker panel. So from here you can picture that the power is coming out of the surge protector and it's going to our junction box. From here, this is the important part, is we want one hot leg to go to the inverter and the neutral to go to the inverter. Now we're going to have a bus bar in there for the grounds. We want all those grounds to be connected. The neutral and the hot leg definitely need to go straight to the inverter, but the ground we can have tied to all of it because we don't want anything bypassing the ground at any time. But the neutral must go through the inverter before it goes to the rest of the system so that the hybrid function works properly. So you can see out of the inverter, we have that leg coming out and back into the junction box along with that neutral. So that neutral, since it's gone through the inverter, can now use one of those same connectors, but rather than the 3, it can just be the 2. That way we don't have to use any heat shrink in there. They're just easier to use, and that can go directly to our RV breaker panel. Now, the one that is the hot leg coming out of the inverter goes into that new plug that we're using, that 3-way plug. And one of those sides is going to go straight to the RV breaker panel, and the other is going to go to our switch. So we can see here that we really only have a few wires that are going into that switch at this point. We have the one that came from the EMS surge protector that's going to go to the switch. So in that switch, we have 2 inputs. We have the one that's coming from the inverter and the one that's just coming in from when you plug into shore power. So this is where we have the ability to choose which side of that we're going to feed to the other leg in the panel. So that way, when we're on boondocking, we can either send it from the inverter, or if we're plugged into 50 amp, we can send it from that leg that's already powered from shore power. Now, if we look at the detail on the switch, we can see that we cleaned up a lot of those connections. So we now just have one jumper that's in the back between 1 and 3 on the outside, and then we just have our 2 inputs on 2 and 4. So pretty simple, we have 2 inputs and 1 output on the switch. Now to operate the inverter, we just use the Bluetooth adapter to be able to change the input limit current for depending on what we're plugging into. And then the USB adapter we have for the initial setup of the main settings. And then on the DC side, we'll run through this quickly. On the negative side, we're using 4-aught cable to the shunt. And then the shunt is the only thing that connects to the batteries. On the load side of the shunt is where you would connect to the chassis. On the positive side, again, 4-aught cable to our battery disconnect and the 400 amp T-fuse. Use the T-fuse. I've seen other fuse holders melt. Then from the fuse, we connect to the batteries. This fuse and RV load disconnect are the ones that are already existing in the RV. So we're just connecting the stock system here to the battery bank. So looking at this diagram and seeing it installed on the RV, you can see that it's very similar to the last RV, but we had those key changes, like the 600 watts of solar now mounted on the roof. We used the solar prep on the RV to simplify the install, and then wiring them in series parallel to take advantage of the size of the wire that was installed in the RV. And then the real big game changer for us for how we use the power when switching is this little guy. We don't have to use the heat shrink inside of that junction box anymore. It's easier to set up, cleaner on the switch, much better system. But we still use the same batteries, the exact same batteries. We've been very, very pleased with them. They have worked fantastic. So remember, you can use the code AllAboutRVs to save 15% if you're interested in those. And then there'll be links down in the description to everything that we talked about in the video today. So I think that's gonna do it for today. That's gonna wrap up our electrical upgrades at this point. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you wanna see more videos about RVing, hit that subscribe button. And if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will see you next video.